Hello, I'm here with a new series of vocal videos, which is going to be all on Patsy Rodenberg's The Need for Words, Voice, and Text, a 1993 work. This is the 2017 edition of it. Rodenberg is a head of voice at the Guildhall School for Music and Drama, also worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company and the Royal National Theatre, all in the UK, obviously. Um, so yeah, I've been doing a vocal videos, all stemming from kind of no ums, no ahs to try and improve my speech patterns, improve my delivery on videos, and been using a lot of stuff from YouTube, Darren McStay at Improve Your Voice and others. But I decided I should probably find a book that just I can work through a little bit more systematically versus just kind of picking out little bits here and there. I'll just like, okay, someone fairly quite reputable has made a book that this is a book that is she works primarily, it seems like, with actors, but this is a book that's ostensibly for the general public, though I'll get into that. So my plan is that I'm going to work on this book at least one chapter a week. We'll see how chunky the chapters are. They might split up into, if there's natural kind of breaking off points where I can kind of better process individual things in individual chapters. Maybe there'll be multiple chapters. We'll see. One chapter a week or less is the idea. So this week I'm going to start off with the introduction to this book. So, which is good because it kind of gives me a good overview of Patsy Rodenberg, maybe where her strengths are, her perhaps strengths are going to be, and maybe some of the weaknesses, some of the things we'll have to look out for on here. So, I mean, the introduction to this is starting off with it's an argument for the book about how vital vital speaking is, about being able to communicate that way, saying that it is fairly central. It's a central part of an education system that's sort of given it up, and uh, she definitely bemoans that kind of the lack of the humanities, and lack of a lot of the students having to say things, speak out loud, give presentations out loud, all this sort of stuff in a regular school, not a rich school. We'll get to that later. This has fallen by the wayside, and of course, because Royal Shakespeare Company and stuff like that, she uses Shakespeare as an example of the old timey education and how great it was. And she very much goes on about kind of left brain, right brain stuff, which I will get into in a moment, where she feels that Shakespeare got both the kind of the rational how to make an argument, the kind of the forms, but also to make it sound beautiful, to be able to captivate the viewer, the person listening, to use the proper words. He didn't so much learn his knowledge as he spoke his knowledge, and that's how things got processed. Now, yeah, she does heavily lean on, it's an artsy person, on the kind of the left brain, right brain thing. Specifically, Dr. Ian McGilchrist, I think it's The Master and the Emissary is the book, and talking about the disastrous erosion and respect of our creative right brain and the dominance of the left side and its logic. He argues that the right side holds us, our completeness and our being, but has been subsumed and undervalued by the logic of the left brain. Which I kind of went and looked at reviews, which some of them say, like, beautifully written. This is a book that will hopefully help us, stop becoming machines. But there were definitely other voices saying this is fairly untethered from actual neuroscience. There's no way we're this fine grained that we can actually know this stuff. And there's just the whole thing of the right brain, left brain divide, which is a pop science thing, not an actual science thing, where there's been the original studies were talking about the right brain being for spatial, kind of very much spatial perception, the left side of the brain being more kind of language processes, but in a statistical way. That this wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh, there's a complete hard divide. No, statistically, it seemed mostly this way or that way. also discounting people who are a lot of some people who are like left-handed, where the hemispheres seem to have different switch, and many other things. It's like brain science is very complicated, and making such simplistic things of, oh, I am a right brain creative person and I am a left brain Vulcan scientist, is kind of nonsense, and also nonsense in the sense of there's plenty of scientists who are deeply creative in their outlook of stuff, while there are, artists who need to use very kind of analytical tools to be able to accomplish their art, whether they're writers or sculptors or architects or stuff like that. It's not so simple. So I kind of had to kind of roll my eyes at that. Now, where I do agree with her is that there's the whole thing of the industrialization of education, where we have giant class sizes, and a lot of what she would like. She says, like, the arts department in her where she was teaching get criticized because it was so expensive to teach these kids teach these kids art. And it's because that, they basically had none of this education, none of the working on how to be good communicators, doing all presentations, arguments, debates. She says, no, that's something that you have to go to a private school with small class sizes and lots of teachers and lots of kind of one-on-one focus, where, which she says, in one sense, she says that kind of makes sense because it's the leadership class who needs to be really good at communication to be able to lead. And you can see that this book, while saying it's kind of for general audience, you can see that it makes me laugh because it's the whole thing of who are you marketing? What's a market that you can go with that has lots of excess money, and definitely marketing this to business people who have to make presentations and have to make speeches and to communicate one on one, but also in groups with large amounts of people, is where she's like, oh, I could, if I'm going to be a vocal coach, that's who I want to market it to. Maybe not to penniless actors. Maybe that's not the place where I would actually get a very good market share. So that's, and there's definitely a thing in here of, there's a lot of corporate stuff of, like, she's obviously had a lot of corporate gigs. She talks about coaching grumpy bosses who don't want to talk to their employees, have a separate elevator and all this stuff. And and also just the dehumanizing language of corporations, where they dehumanize people. She says, like, working, she knows people who are working to humanize the language of corporations, which I feel like is, she's marketing to corporate people, but it feels like you're putting you're putting some paint on what's a cold, soulless death machine that is all about dehumanizing. It's like, that's the purpose of it. It's doing its job. And that, yes, maybe you should have a PR department who knows how to smile and connect with people on a human level, but that's the PR department. I don't know if the actual corporation itself gives a shit, because it's not going to make, it's the thing that makes them money is dehumanizing people. So there's that as well. You have to understand this is, in some ways, is a business book. So I will have to kind of extract that, because obviously I'm not a business person. I'm not coming at it from that point of view. And I can see this actually working for people who, maybe actually are, humans, not corporate drones, who want to better connect with people they work with, or also I can see that being that she makes the point that the people who can communicate effectively can be less smart than a super smart person, but if they communicate effectively, they can probably get a lot further and have a lot of these super smart people who can't really effectively communicate in their own little bubbles that they manage and get to control themselves. So there is that. She also has a thing of linking her vocal work with just having a general kind of education in the classics, in art, in philosophy, and this will make you a more moral person, which perhaps that are moral people more interested in reading moral stuff, and immoral people who don't give a fuck and just want to grind their workers down aren't going to particularly care about work that reminds them how shitty they are. Um, there's a whole bunch of this stuff in here. And I mean, if you're an artsy person, you of course want to find lots of uses for your art other than I like it. And, making a moral underpinning for your art is important to people. And I don't know. Um, I do agree. There's nuggets in here though that they should be able to respond with their mind and mouth working together, which is, that is something that I am working towards in my videos. I am because I don't edit my videos, and I actually enjoy how talking gets me thinking, and to be able to better think out loud to the camera is what I'm going for, so that they should be able to respond with the mind and the mouth working together is a part of my project, So I find commonalities there that work. Now, she also contends that human dialogue can transform information into knowledge, which is a very vocal coach point of view. But it's obviously not one that I totally disagree with, at least from my standpoint. There are some people who think things through inside in their head, and then they come out with stuff. I find that I need it outward. I need to talk stuff out. I also recognize that not everybody is going to have that same process, though. She ends off with a bunch of mission statements, which I think are the things that made me kind of bite the bullet and go from just having this as a sample to getting the entire book, which it's like, essentially, I want to explore more widely and deeply how to connect your voice to words so that you can speak any kind of text in any situation with ease, confidence, and impact. I hate impact, but that idea of connecting my voice to words, being compelled to listen to what he or she is saying, like to be a more compelling speaker. That is definitely one of my goals. We are all eloquent or dream of being eloquent, which the cynical part of me says that's the sales, that's very much the sales pitch there of, we're all eloquent. You too can be a great speaker. I don't know if I can be a great speaker, but I can improve my speaking. But you can see that there's a bit of a sell there. Language fully expressed makes us feel joyous, liberated, and strong, which actually I do agree with. I think a good video that I've made, a video that I think, oh, I got my points across, that I really do enjoy that. That's probably why I keep on coming back here. And then finally, the thing that is that this, and I also read an interview with her where she seems to be into practicalities, because you can have sweeping statements, but sweeping statements aren't going to get me anywhere. What sold me is this book will provide simple craft exercises that will pave the way towards a more considered and animated use of spoken language. So just that there, I think, simple craft exercises is the big thing there. Is what attracted me to Darren McStay's videos. It's like, here's an exercise to do this exercise. And use it as a foundation to build on being a better speaker. I hope to encourage you to seize words and use them with a newfound passion, and to explore the ways of preparing and enjoying forms and language. So yeah, I think when it comes down to it, it's that simple craft exercises. If I find simple craft exercises that I can kind of use and build upon to have a better, more considered and animated use of spoken language, I will be a happy camper at the end of this book. So yeah, that is the introduction to The Need for Words, Voice, and the Text by Patsy Rodenberg. And there's kind of some pop science stuff in there. I don't know if that's insecurity or if that's like, I need to pump this up for a general audience. That this is great, or preaching to a choir that also already thinks it's great. Language is a powerful tool. I think it can be morally very quite neutral as to whether it's used for good or for ill. Whatever you might say about some evil orange-headed fellow down in the down in the States, he uses language. It's horrific use of language, but it is also powerful. But probably not in any way that Patsy Rodenberg would appreciate. But somehow it's a compelling voice, and so and I yeah, yeah. So there's I think you have to bring your own. I don't know if you're going to find your own decency and morality in the use of language, but hopefully you can better explore it. Hopefully I think a part of I can see that maybe arguing that clear use of language, that language that's really grounded in yourself, can hopefully take you to a deeper place and a more considered place. But it can also sail over a lot of that stuff. You can fool yourself with your speech as well, and you can fool others. So yeah, yeah. All right, I will leave it there. I have been Jay. More videos later.